Hey, good morning. So it's a little bit after 4 a.m. Got myself up at 3:30 and started the drive up to northern New Jersey and meeting up with my friend Ray, and we're going to do a little scouting and hopefully some photography. So when I scout for warblers, or any bird that is, I usually still try to hope to get some photos of them as well for myself, you know. So today I'm really scouting for some upcoming workshops. I have one tomorrow and the next day, and then a bunch more after that. So I'm really looking for spots with consistent cooperative birds that I can take people back to, so I'm not just kind of wandering around seeing what I can find up there. So I expect that, you know, on a scouting day, I'm going to spend a little bit more time searching than shooting, but I always bring my camera, and I always kind of assume, and usually it is the case, that I can manage to get some good photos for myself as well. So the only problem with today is, you know, I'm driving 2.5 hours one way to get to the location, and this is the only time I have because my schedule's been pretty busy. And I checked the forecast, and it's going to be full sun all day long, from sunrise to sunset, full sun. And that's exactly what happened about 5 days ago when I was up there for my first scouting mission of the year. It was full sun all day long and 11 hours of hiking, and we found some great birds. And I got 0 photos for the day, you know. It is so difficult to shoot in the forest in full sun. Now today I'm getting up there a little bit earlier, and I know we're gonna start out where we know there's some birds, because I just want to see if they're still there, if they're repeatable. So that's kind of a confirmation mission today. But it at least allows me to start out with some birds right away, hopefully, as long as they're there, which means I might get something interesting in the first bit of sunlight of the morning. But after that first hour, once the sun is up, it's pretty much game over for photography with these birds, and that's going to be about it. So it looks like it's going to be another day of, you know, 5 hours of total driving, plus more driving around to different locations when I'm at the spot, and pretty much, you know, very likely no good photos from the day. So that part sucks, but it is just nice to be out. I'm looking forward to getting around hiking. It's a beautiful area. It's good exercise. The weather actually should be beautiful to be out in, even though it's not great for photography. And I'll have a good friend with me. Hopefully we'll find some good birds, and then I'll be able to come back with some clients and get them and maybe myself some good photos of these species. So just going to try and give you a little bit of play-by-play of the day. I'll check back in here and there, let you know how we're making out, and yeah, just thought it'd be fun to give a little story throughout the day. Alright, so just wrapped the first section of scouting this morning. Hiked in really far off trail along this mountain stream, hemlocks on both sides. Found at least definitely 6 Blackburnian warbler, if not 7, maybe 8. Kind of lost track of the count. Black-throated green everywhere. Started the morning with some red starts in a flowering tree. I have no idea what kind, but that was really cool. And the light's been crap all day. I mean, mostly sun. Thankfully, there's like a little bit of clouds happening now, just some puffy white clouds. I mean, it's visually just a gorgeous day outside, but it's just all the sun is really tough for photography. So with the Blackburnian warblers, there was a few of them that we were hanging with and just seeing how they were doing and watching the behavior, and a few of them came low, but you know, the photos are just atrocious. So definitely a scouting mission today, but I'll be back up here with a client tomorrow, and it's supposed to be a lot more overcast then, so hoping I can actually pick up some shots as well as get some photos for them, which is you know, the top priority, of course. So heading to a cerulean spot that my friend has right now, and then from there going to another spot and just seeing what we turn up. So it's been a fun day, definitely getting the exercise in. It's perfect weather to be out, so just happy to be able to be out and enjoy this weather and see some amazing birds, even though I didn't get photos of them today. But I'll update you soon. Alright, just wrapped up a little while ago. Almost 12 hours of being out today, hiking and trying to photograph stuff. Every once in a while we would get a cloud, and we had some cooperative birds occasionally during those periods of time, but for the most part, today was definitely a scouting mission. But saw a lot of stuff. Found this amazing Blackburnian spot. What else? Black-throated green everywhere, red start today everywhere, yellow warbler. Don't know if we got any shots of them, I don't think so. Northern Parola, found a couple of cooperative veery, and I got an interesting shot of that, I think. So that was cool. What else? Blue-headed vireo was nice, and I think that about covers it. Oh, black and white warbler, no photos, but nice to see, hearing them everywhere. I'm sure there's other birds in there that I'm missing. You know, herd hooded, didn't see any. But yeah, those were the major things. But yeah, beautiful day out. You know, hiked a lot. It was a lot of fun, and definitely got some good photos. And then right at the end, walking along, and my friend spots this pileated woodpecker perched on a fallen log on the ground. It was working it, like grabbing some, you know, insects and probably ants and stuff out of there. And we both had our shorter lenses on, so the 300 f4 with the teleconverter on, and it's got a few branches in the way until I get closer. So I start slowly creeping up, and he's creeping up, and we're both like slowly stalking this thing as it's like working or looking in the other direction. I managed to get up to filling the frame with this bird, like full frame headshot of this thing, which is incredible. I've never been that close to a pileated, and really, really cool. So that was like right before we got back to the cars to wrap the day. So that was really, really neat. So excited about that shot too. So I'll share some of these shots when I get home, and I'll kind of talk about a little bit of what happened today and show you some of the results of it. So that was the day though, and I'll be back up here doing it again tomorrow. So 2-hour drive left till I get home, and then sleep for a while and repeat again tomorrow. So lots of fun. All right, day 2 of all day workshops. Nice and early. It's 3:45 right now a.m. Pretty tired, but got a decent night's rest. So today, heading up to meet my client. I'm gonna go to the same starting spot as I was yesterday, just because that was so good with birds, lots of variety. And today, the forecast is looking a bit better. It looks like there might be some sun in the morning, but within the first hour or two, it's going to start clouding up, which would be ideal, right? It'd be great to have that sun, that low early morning sun, to kind of do interesting stuff with, get a little bit more dynamic, dramatic images, but then have it cloud up as soon as the sun starts getting to the point of where it's horrible. So that would be ideal. And then it's looking like rain by 2 o'clock or so. So we might shoot a little bit in the rain, but we'll see how the day's going and how long he wants to stay and shoot, because he is due to be with me tomorrow as well. So so we're going to try and go for a good variety of birds, but you know, we're going to concentrate on getting good photos, not just seeing as many birds as possible. And then when I get up there after we get started, I'll certainly be asking him which species he would really like to work with more, you know, of the ones I can find regularly. And then that's what we'll go for. So should be a fun day. I'm really looking forward to it. Got a 2.5-hour drive ahead of me now before I get started, and I'll let you know how it goes. So today was a tough day. Let my client go early because the rain started, and at first it was a light rain, so we shot a little bit in that. And we actually got a northern parola, maybe with some wildflowers. I'm not sure if it's gonna be great. I mean, we got the shots, but I just don't know how it's gonna look. Might need a little editing. But we did that in the rain, and then I let him go because it was just starting to pick up on the rain. And today's been getting colder and colder, and we found birds today, but what a tough day. I mean, just everything staying up high, nothing working low within range. We started the morning
with some red start, blue wing, yellow, Baltimore Oriole, and got a couple of shots, nothing amazing, but a couple of, you know, maybe shareable shots of those. Then we went on this crazy long hike. It was all for Black Burnian because he had never seen one or photographed one. So I had some there yesterday at this spot, and it's a long hike. I was hoping to pick up some before we got all the way back as far as I had gone yesterday, because it's a solid hour hike in through some elevation change, so it's not easy. You know, not the most crazy hike in the world, but it ain't easy, especially with your heavy camera and all that stuff. So we go back, first Black Burnian, nothing. Well, like we see him, won't come down. Next Black Burnian, two of them together, and just everything working up high, just nothing low at all. And there's some, you know, like elevation terrain, so we were trying to, you know, work with that, like get ourselves elevated and hope the birds were going to work mid-level on these other trees, and just nothing. It was just struggle. Black-throated green we saw. We did have, oh, I did say, yeah, we got a hooded that was super cooperative, and at one point he was bouncing around like full frame out in the open. A boring perch, but clean shot, so that was nice. And then what else did we have back there? Blue-headed vireo, got a decent shot of that, but we saw scarlet tanager, same thing, just treetop. Everything today was just, that was the story of the day, just treetop. Nothing working low, nothing within, not nothing, but most things working high, just not down within shooting range. And it's been getting colder throughout the day, so you know, my hands are numb now. It's been raining for the last hour and a half. Just after I let the client go, I had a little bit more scouting to do because I have more workshops coming up up here in this North Jersey area. Because I have some more workshops coming up in this North Jersey area. And boy, it's just... So I've just, after I let my client go, I've just been kind of working at scouting a little bit more because I have some more workshops coming up throughout the year up here in North Jersey. So just trying to find some more cooperative birds, and at this point in the rain, it's like, it's a no-go. I can't hear anything. It's raining too hard. It's freezing cold. I think the birds have just shut down. It's just a mess. There, I just fogged my lens. What a day. Let's go ahead and clear that up. There we go. Now you can see me. So yeah, 2.5 hour drive home now. I switched up my workshop. I was supposed to be with the same guy up here again for another round 2 tomorrow, but it's supposed to be even colder tomorrow. So we decided to head to South Jersey where I got a little bit more reliable stuff, and hopefully it works out for us down there. So it's not all glamour all the time. It's hard work, but I absolutely love it. So I spent the last 2 days out shooting and scouting. One day with a client, one day just with a friend of mine. And I have 2 days of photos already imported into the computer. So everything's already in Lightroom, and I'm going to get started going through them. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about how I would go through and cull and pick out some of the good photos as soon as the computer decides to catch up here. There we go. Oh, you know what? These may have been some of the ones I already went through. Let me check. Yeah, I did. Okay, here we go. All right, so I spent a lot of time on both mornings near what I think is a crabapple tree, but not positive. So I hit caps lock on the keyboard, and I'm just gonna kind of roll through these and pick out which ones I like. There we go, singing. So I'll keep one with the beak closed and one with singing. I like that head angle better than the one I had back there, so I'll go back and reject that. Keep that one, keep that one. Beak open again. Ooh, I might like that singer better. Let me go back to, yep. So the head was tilted a little better here, and so I actually like that singing pose better. I don't like all this stuff up there, but I'll deal with that later. So that's kind of how I would go through. I'm just going to kind of hit a couple different sets of images here and show you just some of the stuff I got. So this was how both mornings were spent. When I first got up there, is went right to this beautiful flowering tree, because it was like one of only a few around. And so that was really nice. And it just looked really pretty. There's a nice head angle. Little turn. I mean, I don't like the fact that this flower's coming right out of the back there and everything else is out of focus. It's certainly not ideal. Look, and then I tried to compose with the way he was looking, and there we go. I was going to say then he turned his head the other way, but now he's back. And then he turned that way, so I composed that way, but he's turned like too far away. And then I blew focus. And now he's turned far away. That head angle is really weird. He's looking down at something. Probably getting ready to start looking for insects. That one's a maybe. So I'll hang on to a couple of those. Yeah, just not loving that. All right, so, oh, here, and then, yeah, I hit this set, which was pretty nice. Except it just has all the flowers in behind it that I don't love. So let's see what else we got here. But instead of showing you guys every single photo I took, let me just scroll through a few here. This one's maybe got some potential. So I'm just going to go through the thumbnails here. Then I had a red start come in again. Maybe something nice. I know it's a little busy. This is a little cleaner, but bummer, no flowers like framing him in over top. Also out of focus, but there, that one's in focus. So yeah, should have some good stuff there. Then my friend Ray and I hiked up. We found this veery as we were hiking in the mountains off the trail. We were heading down into a hemlock forest. We already went to the hemlock forest, and then there was black burnian and black-throated green down there, but no luck with them. So then we were hiking to the next spot, which was downstream a little bit further. So we actually were hiking up in more of the open forest, and that's when we came across this veery, which was really neat. So we worked with that bird for a little bit. There was actually a pair of them in there, which was cool. The lighting was just so difficult. Full sun. You know, I eventually kicked up some exposure compensation there. Blew some more focus. There we go. There's a sharp one. Just kick the exposure comp up a little bit. You know, I'll probably, if I keep any of these, I'll just get rid of some of those branches back there. Then we did find a cooperative black-throated green. Came down low. But I don't know if I got anything here. The bird was, there we go. That's a decent head angle right there. So that's pretty cool. Nice detail on the bird there. Kind of a boring shot though, you know, legitimately just a bird on a branch. So certainly not anything real exciting there. We were hoping we could get it that was working on this. We were hoping it might drop down onto the moss, but that never happened. So it was up on the hemlock, but you can see the sun in the background is just atrocious. Would have been nice if it was overcast. Tried to do something here, but this shadowy tree going through the background is just killing it. So that's no good. It was a frustrating day. A little bit of backlight there, but of course get a branch right in the eyeball. And then we did find a black burnian. But again, just horrific lighting. I mean, it's like a useless photo. I don't even know why I took it. I take it because it's so funny how so many times these things look better to your eye. Like these scenes, they look like, oh, that's going to be usable. I can get a shot out of that. And then I look at it on the computer here and I'm just like, that's just garbage. You know, it's just trash. Same with this, you know, it's like my eye to this scene was like, yeah, look at the orange there. The background's not so bright. You know, he's tucked in some nice hemlock there, but I mean, you look at it here, it's just a branchy mess, and it's just not, I mean, it's soft light on the bird, but the background's just super distracting and certainly not anything great. Now, had this been overcast light, this could have been an amazing shot. It really could have been something really good with him kind of like right out in the end of that hemlock. And then he came out into the open here. Kind of cool texture back there, but this light is just meh. I mean, maybe I can do a little something with it. Let's see, lighten the exposure a little bit, kick the shadows way up, darken the blacks, maybe throw on a little vignette to darken everything else somewhat. But then I don't know, I don't love these huge vertical pillars in the background. Well, one's in the foreground as well, I guess. You know, yeah, it's just another meh shot. And this would have been really nice. He came down here onto this branch at one point. So, but just the background is like pretty mediocre. I overexposed these a little bit. I should have shot it more like that. So I can pull some stuff back and get a little bit of detail back on the highlights there, but it's like that lighting is just so overhead. It's more crap lighting, But again, overcast light, this would have been great. I love playing with sunlight when it's early in the morning, but for this time of the day, like midday forest shooting, not fun. This was cool. We found another veery. So we left that spot, hit another spot, found this veery. He actually looked like he was getting ready. I do see a little like spider right there. I don't know if he ended up getting that. I forget. Because he was totally... Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, you can see the spider's there now. And then I missed it, but he grabbed it off real quick. And I think that's what he's doing right there, is like eating it down. Because I remember him actually like reaching out and I just wasn't ready. So that was kind of cool. But, nothing, no good shots there. I mean, like all of these are nice light. But he's just like turned away, so that's no good. But he did come down and move over and give me that. So this is pretty cool. I like this lighting. Gonna need to, crop this a little differently. Maybe something like that. And then the big thing will be to just kind of take that sunspot down on the leaf there. So just kind of give that the appearance of being more darker forest, but that's pretty cool, so you can get some interesting drama with sunlight in the forest, but it's so difficult. The bird has to be in the exact right spot, and that happens almost never. So it's frustrating. Overcast light's just way more forgiving when you're in the forest, so you can kind of just point everywhere and shoot all day, but sunlight in the right, early in the morning, late in the evening can be really cool too. So anyway, moving right along, we did then come upon this blue-headed vireo, which was really cool. Ended up having 2 good sessions. So I was really happy with these. These were like my best blue-headed vireo shots to date right there. But now that I look at them here, they're close. This one's not bad. He's looking back a little bit there. But yeah, this is all right. I could remove that and that, clean that up pretty nice. But I have more of my kind of style of shot coming up the next day. Hiked to like we drove and then hiked at like our 4th or 5th spot of the day. I lost track and got some yellow warbler. The light was decent then, but not a great perch, just a little bit of branchiness back there. And then as we were wrapping up, walking back to the car, my friend Ray spots this pileated, and this is, the first shot, right? He was down working this, fallen log, and he was pounding away in there, I guess, getting some insects out of there. And so every time he would put his head down or turn, I would just slowly creep in. But you can see, look at all the branchy mess I was shooting through. So I knew the only shot was if I got super close. And so that's what I did. Look, I progressively just kept real slow, walking in, just kept walking in, and then eventually got to the point of where it was just like full on headshot. Look at that. You can see all the detail of the, like all the log is left on there, like some of the wood, the rotting wood. There's this nice little yellow tint there. You can see individual feathers. It's crazy. You can see like the actual tree reflection in its eye, like unbelievable detail. By far the closest I've ever been to a pileated woodpecker. And this was with the 300 millimeter and 1.4 converter. So it was only 420 millimeter on a full frame camera. So this is uncropped how close I got to that bird. So that was pretty cool. That was really special. Next morning, had a client, did end up getting this shot that I'm really happy with. So started in that same tree, got the Baltimore Oriole. Tough one to say. Baltimore Oriole came in there. So that was really neat. Got a little shoot through on him too. Not sure. Yeah, that might come out cool. I like that kind of shooting through the tunnel look. Then had a blue wing come in, so that was kind of neat. Nice pose here. That's one I just kind of tweaked and edited last night. Blue wing was landing on all kinds of stuff too. Just kind of working around the insects, and then he would come in and hit this tree. Never hit the perfect spot in there, but this is really nice. I love whatever this plant is, just the greens and the fresh growth on that, and it's kind of open and spacious. I was able to compose it a little bit there. That was cool. Also landed in a cedar tree. A little far north for cypress trees. Then my client and I hiked into the same spot I was in the day before, where I was at with my friend Ray, because of the Blackburnian, and I knew we had overcast light, right? So it's like, I think, hey, maybe we can actually get some good photos of these Blackburnian today. Little did I know I was wrong, but anyway, we did find a hooded warbler, which I did not see the day before, so that was really cool. He gave us some really good looks just bouncing around the forest. Ended up out on this mossy log, which was real neat. You know, he started down low, down here, but here's the good moss, right? And so thankfully he turned and gave us like the over-the-shoulder look. There you go. And I was able to compose it and include more of that moss. I love the dead leaf stuck in there, which was really cool. And then he came out on this branch right in front of us, and the client had the really good angle. So we were standing on two different perspectives, and the client had a perfect, nice green background. I had this white background here like this. Clean shot, you know, totally nice portrait of the bird, but again, just kind of boring, just a boring branch, hemlock, you know, just like a dead hemlock branch sticking out. And the background kind of blah. So I made sure, as he got a bunch of shots, my client got a bunch of good shots, and I asked him, I was like, you got the green background? We're like talking as the bird's right there. He's just chilling. And my client's like, yeah, I got it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to slowly creep around. And I was able to slowly creep around and get myself to get a green background. And then the bird was still there. So what I started doing, if you'll notice, right, I was at 400th of a second. So my ISO was still pretty high because we were under the canopy. It was pretty dark. And then I just slowly started dropping that shutter speed. So look, here I got down to 1/60th of a second, so I could get my ISO down to 1000, which is a little bit more manageable. And boom, you know, tack sharp, again, trying to compose in the direction that the bird was looking every time. So you'll see every time he's looking that way, I give him more space on the left. Every time he's looking that way, I give him more space the other way, you know? So here's one where he's spaced out that way. But, you know, I went down to 100th of a second here, little soft. That one's sharp, 1/60th. So I tried to go even lower, but then he didn't stay long enough for me to burst enough photos, and then he took off. Usually if I take a burst of photos at 100th of a second, I can get 1 or 2 sharp. But anyway, that was a really good experience with the hooded, super close. Then we hit a black and white. We hiked way back. We hit a black and white, found an oven bird, was able to shoot this oven bird through some nice foreground stuff. So I'm really going to like these later compositions where I put more space out in front, as long as he gave me a good head angle. There we go. That will edit up nice. That'll be cool. Here's the vireo we got. This is the blue-headed vireo. There we go. Look at that. Really like just these sparse new growth stuff here. Nice clean branch. Nice darker hemlock background. Light coming from overhead. You know, pretty much the exact look I wanted there. So that was really cool. And then Gnatcatcher out on this, which I really liked. He was framed right in there, but he never turned and gave me the right angle. It was just like butt shot, butt shot, butt shot. Oh no, he did. That's right. And I blew focus right there. Although that's not really good. Like, I wouldn't compose this with more space out this side, because I love that. So even if I did get this sharp, he's like facing the wrong way, you know? Like, I really want him facing out that way, which I don't think he ever did. Let's see. He landed in head on. That would have worked. I could have composed that one nicely, but again, totally blew focus. Yeah, so I nailed focus down there. He bounced out on the branch, totally blew focus, and I don't know what happened here. I usually let off my focus lock so I can continue to focus and track this bird as it's moving around, but I nailed focus on that branch, that's for sure. Which is a bummer, because it's such a cool perch, or like growth, you know, opening up on the end of the branch. Then he bounced back. Then I got him in focus. Then he turned. So this one is okay. I hate that the tail's intersecting that branch, but, you know, let's see. Let me lock that. Let's see what kind of composition we can come up with here. And then we'll lighten it up a little bit. Something like that, and then a little pop of blue saturation, and I'll probably just maybe clone that out, but that's kind of cool, you know. Again, I just wish the tail wasn't intersecting there, but I just absolutely love these little blooms here. And then I might just blow that out of, like, just go white with it, you know, background. Just go solid white back there. So all it is just the branch and the bird. That might be kind of cool. All right, hit a yellow warbler after that in a field. In the rain, started raining, and we went for cerulean. This was, oh no, it had a chestnut sided there too. We did see cerulean at my cerulean spot, but that was pretty much the only shot. It was like treetop. And I didn't document the cerulean just because I know they're there all the time. So I did document this chestnut. So I grabbed these shots just to keep one in my records, so I can then check again in the future and see when I saw what species on what date and where, you know, because I have these all location marked. So I'm not going to reveal that location right now, but I do have it location tagged, and then I have the dates and everything else like that. So that can be helpful for my records. So then obviously the date is recorded in there as well. And then having the location is really a good thing. And it's nice to have all that so I can just go back in my records and check later and see where I saw what, when. We wrapped up the day yesterday with Northern Parula that came down on some hemlock here. Real cooperative. Don't love the branch coming out of the head there. So those shots are a no-go for me. But then he did pop out on this little greenery low. And then the shot, which needs some editing, was this one. Really loved that. That was really, really cool. The flowers were just beautiful up there. Everything's got raindrops on it. He's a little soggy. So I'm going to edit this one up. It needs a little help. I got to make the bird a little lighter. I want to make this brown a little darker behind it just to make him stand out more. But could be an interesting shot. So I'll revisit all these in a little bit when I'm done editing them. And then I had this yellow in the rain. So I left the client. He wrapped it up just because it was really starting to rain heavy, but I scouted a few more spots. And I wanted to see what else I could find and maybe get a little shots in the rain for myself. But you know, it was raining a lot and the birds were really just kind of shut down. So I did find this one yellow, but he never gave me a good head angle. Look at this. Like, just there was good, but he's obscured. He hits the opening, looks the kind of angled the wrong way, and then moves out of it. So, you know, nothing there. So no good shot there, which is a bummer because I would have loved that with the rain. This is a kind of a cool look. I like this, but you can't see the rain as well because the background's a little light. So that was nice. I found another yellow later on in some rain, but it's nice in the rain, nice and lush there. But I don't love that there's no background separation. This shot's not that bad. I mean, it's kind of cool. It really shows you the habitat that this bird lives in. So, and then I got a real close-up of him in the rain there. But I think I blew focus a little bit on this. Yeah. Yep, it looks like I caught right here. Caught on the front of the bird, not the eye. And that one's a little bit sharper, but then my composition got really weird. I don't know why. I needed more space in front of him, but I guess I could always just crop it in from the bottom right. And that was the last shot of yesterday. So something like that. The bird is way, way, way too green. That is not the color of this bird. There's just all this green light bouncing around on him in there from obviously all the green. And when everything's wet, it's a little bit more reflective. So it reflects more green. But in Photoshop, I would just kind of remove some of that green cast on the bird, bring him back to the natural color. Because if I white balance this shot just for the bird like that, actually that's not that bad. Yeah, there we go. I was just going to say if I white balance that, it loses some of that lovely, that super rich green in the background. So watch, see how kind of bright and vivid green everything is there, and then it gets a little bit more dull. But this is actually probably more accurate. So there we go. Yeah, it cleaned up pretty well. There's a little bit of green tint under there. I'll clean that up in Photoshop. But this is kind of a nice shot. You know, I don't like all the branches coming out of the head, but it's so close and all the raindrops give it a good feel. So anyway, that's the overview of the days up there. North Jersey. This is all up in Delaware Water Gap area, so that is kind of the area that I was hanging out in. A lot of fun. Had, let's see, 920 some shots, so that is a lot to go through. I'm going to cull through them, narrow them down, and then pick out some favorites. I'll edit them, and then I'll show you guys some final edits. All right, so I'm all done culling through the images. I got it from 930 down to 150 on the first pass. Then I went through again and ditched another, I don't know, 60 or 70 images, and I think it's down to 80 photos at this point. So from 930 down to 80 photos, and now I'm just going to start doing a little color correcting, and I thought I'd just show you a little bit how I do that here in Lightroom and along with my mixing board here. So I also have this programmable mouse. It's a Logitech mouse. I think it's an MX Master. I forget which model, or maybe that is the model. In any case, I have that programmed to do a lot of different stuff. So for instance, I scroll back and forth. So previous photo, next photo, enter the crop by hitting one of the buttons on the mouse, and then, you know, set that crop, and then I do my adjustments right here on this board. And then if I hold a couple of keyboard shortcuts or modifiers, I'm sorry, and hit the left mouse button, I get the radial gradient. If I hold some different ones or the same ones and hit the right mouse button, I get the linear gradient tool. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I can hold a couple of modifier keys and hit the left mouse button and copy settings, which it doesn't just bring up the copy window, it actually copies the settings and, you know, basically it copies the settings and hits return on the keyboard to actually get rid of that window. So I can just hit it like that, it goes away, and then same modifier keys and hit the right mouse button and it pastes those settings. So I can do all of that just from the mouse and keyboard and not have to keep bouncing back and forth between, you know, hitting certain shortcuts or, you know, stuff like that. So it all kind of works really well. Sometimes if I want to do, you know, if I want to add color, white balance adjustments in, then I'll use my, you know, right hand on the mixing board here. But, you know, generally speaking, I can get almost everything I need just from keyboard, mouse, and the mixing board here. So I can make everything pretty efficient and get through it pretty quick, which is always my goal, because I do, so all 80 of these photos I kept, I'm going to actually go through like this and do just quick global basic adjustments to them all, you know, crop them in a way I'd like, adjust the white balance, color, exposure, so they all look relatively good. And so this is my process. So I'll copy those settings because I know this image is the same, paste it on there, crop this one a little bit, and then on to the next one I go, paste those same settings. And then the nice thing is if I do have some photos that are really similar, you know, so like for example, if I'd want the same crop and everything like that, I can also just hit, there's another mouse button down here that just copies the settings from the previous photo, but that copies everything like crop and, you know, every other single setting. So if I don't want to match the crop, I don't want to hit that button. But if I do, then it totally works fine. I'm trying to think if I have any photos. Let me see how that works. Let's see if I have any like pretty similar photos, you know, with cropping as well. Yeah, here's a good example. All right, so let's adjust this. I'm going to crop it just in from this side a little bit. Get rid of that branch up top there. Lighten it, kick the shadows up so I can see the actual bird's face. Contrast it back up. I think I'm going to throw a radial on, and I'm not sure. I don't know if I want it to go darker or lighter. I think I'm going to go lighter on this one which is kind of rare for me. And then I'm going to bring the blacks back down a little bit more. All right, so the next photo is exactly the same. There was just a head angle change, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to like. So I'll go to the next photo and hit this previous button on my mouse here, and it actually copies every setting over, including, check it, the radial. But the radial's in the wrong spot because I wasn't exactly the same. So I'll just shift it over there. There we go. Nice and easy, you know, just get to move along real quick. This image was already adjusted. I was playing with it the other day, but now that I'm here again, looks like I'll want to do that to it. And it's a little too warm. There we go. Ooh, awful white balance on this one. Camera just went way too blue on that. Probably because I was underexposed a good bit. But there we go. Here's, I think, another example. I just have a couple different head angles. This is so tough. I want to compose it a certain way, but I hate like cutting some of these flowers off because they're so pretty. But anyway, there we go. And I'll just hit the previous button, bring those same settings over, and there we go. We got it just like that. And you can see how, as I move from image to image, all these sliders are motorized. So watch if I paste some settings on, which those settings were no good. All the motorized sliders move to wherever the slider is in Lightroom. So for example, watch if I take the exposure slider here in Lightroom. So I'll grab the slider on the screen and adjust it. You can see the slider on the board actually follows the movements, and vice versa, of course. You know, move it here, it moves the slider on the screen. All right, I'm going to finish these all up, and then I will come back and show you some final edits. Okay, so all done. I ended up getting everything down to, you know what, I don't even remember it at this point. Probably somewhere around 70 photos. So from 900, I think from the beginning, all told, from both days, I shot around just under 1,000 photos. So got it down to about 70 photos that I'm keeping. A handful of those are just documentary, really crappy shots just for my records, so I know what species I saw when and where throughout the year, so I can reference that again for future, you know, scouting missions and that sort of thing. And the rest of them are all decent shots that I just want to keep for my own, you know, collection of photos. I've keyworded them all with the species that they are and rated them all. So from a 1 through 5 star rating, nothing got a 5, couple of 4s, and decent chunk of 3s, and then a bunch of 2s and some 1s for the documentary stuff. But then I went through and selected everything that's solid enough that at least right now I feel like I could share, you know? And that was 27 photos. So these 27 photos right here are all something that I think potentially could be worth sharing, but there's no way I'm going to decide right now today which ones I'm going to share because I'm still kind of emotionally attached to them. So it's hard to see them a little bit more objectively. So in any case, I'm just going to add my keyword to it that will automatically put them in my smart collection to share photos from. And then over the coming weeks, I mean, I think at this point I have my website scheduled out for a month in advance. So, you know, in the coming weeks, I will sit down when I have some time and go through these photos and see which ones I really like. But for now, I am going to do some final edits on a few. So that one, probably that ovenbird. I really like both of those, really like that one, and I want to see what those two will do. Not sure if there's maybe that red star and maybe that. I don't love that black and white. Oh, and this pileated. And then here's some stuff from the other day. I don't know if there was anything in here I really wanted to edit. Oh, it looks like I already did some of those. See, I've been out so much I've forgotten. So that's 11 photos that I'm going to go through. Let me show you guys real quick basic edit on this one because it's pretty straightforward. And let's see if Photoshop can come up. I'm screen recording in 2 different apps right now. One for that picture and then the other recording my screen. So I have a lot going on, so the computer's just kind of dragging a little bit. Let me get the palettes over here for you guys so you can see them. Where's this at? There we go, single monitor. And here we go. We're going to do this blue-headed Vireo, which is going to be super easy. There's nothing to clone on this. It's just going to be a matter of just some basic dodging and burning. So I'll throw a burn layer on, just darken that corner. I'm just going to darken this corner a little bit and along the bottom. Sorry about this, just waiting for the computer to catch up. There we go. So just some of these slightly lighter areas, I just want to kind of give them a quick little soft dodge or burn. You know what, this branch I think I'm gonna ditch actually, because it's not really connected to anything. It might be connected to that one, but whatever, it'll look like it's part of this branch. So, and it's just so encroaching on the tail there, so I'm just gonna get rid of that real quick. Okay. That's probably going to be a hot mess right along there, and I missed overlapping right there, so that won't be good. Yep, pretty much what I expected, so let's get rid of that, fix all this mess up. And then I'll just mask back in what's supposed to be there. And we'll be all good. So super quick edit on that. Go with a softer brush here. There we go. Cool. Now this spider web doesn't make any sense. I don't know if it was connected to that, but I'll get rid of it anyway. All right. Boy, not a lot else to do on this. I'm going to pop the catch light just to make that stand out a little bit more, make the bird's eye stand out a little bit more. Plus, there's a little bit of brown in this part of the eye, which is kind of cool. Also just going to do a real subtle additional blue on the blue-headed vireo here to really just kind of enhance that color. And I can see as I'm painting this in, I went to cyan with it, which is fine because then I'll just adjust that red level right there, and just gonna a little bit more yellow on the side here just to make these colors really stand out nicely. And I think that's it. Yeah, look at that eye catch light, how much that helps it out, right? Look at the life it just kind of brings to the bird's eye there. So overall, before, here we go, let me set it like that, before, after. So subtle edit, but quick and easy, and there's one down. I'm gonna do the rest, and then I'll be all done. So then I'll have a few edited photos, like final edits, sitting in my collection to share. Like I said, in the coming weeks, I'll come through and pick out what I really like. And that's the whole process, man. That's from beginning to end. I showed you guys what I'm thinking about when I'm going out shooting and scouting. I talked a little bit about that, showed you a little bit behind the scenes. Not a lot because I was kind of really busy, so I didn't have a lot of time to really show me actually shooting or any of that kind of stuff. But I thought there might be something, you know, somewhat informative in this end of the process as well, kind of seeing it all the way from beginning to the end and what it's like when I go through the computer and do all that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this sort of video, this is a little bit easier for me to do than the full-on behind the scenes where I'm showing you, you know, more of what I'm doing out in the field, just because that is very difficult to do while shooting. So I can do more of these in the future if you guys like them. So let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I wanted to drop a quick plug here at the end. All this stuff that I went over today, it's all available to be learned online with me or in person if you're local to Southern New Jersey. So I have some mentorship programs available on my website, a bunch of different tier levels from people that can do only remote to people that are local and want to shoot with me. So there's a few options there, so check that out. It's under the workshop section, mentorship. I also have online workshops available to do some remote training. So all of the Lightroom stuff that I went over, the Photoshop editing, the organization, I mean, any questions you have, or if you want to just have a session with me and talk over different aspects of photography, some of the scouting that I did in this video, you know, how I came up with those locations, what made me look in certain areas, how I did my research, any questions you can come up with, you can always schedule a session with me to do this online remotely. We do it via Skype. We record the call so that way you can watch it again and download it and have it for yourself. And I'm an open book during any of these sessions. So any of those things are available on my website. Just go to rayhennessy.com. It's HENNESSY.com. And then under the workshops, you can check out everything there. And don't forget, I post a ton of stuff on my website every single day. New photos every day. There's videos that can also be seen on my YouTube channel, but you can see them right here. You can watch them along with the photos. There's the podcast. There's other behind the scenes videos. There's some live discussion videos that I've done with Scott on the Wildlife Inspired channel. Just tons and tons of content here. So please make sure you visit, share it with your friends, and thanks again for taking the time to watch, and give any comments and feedback in the comments below. Thank you.